Hello, I Dr. Preeti Holila Raskha welcome you to this session, the relationship between tourism and heritage. Tourism and heritage we have already discussed in our first unit. Again, we shall recall it. What are the concepts of tourism and heritage? Then we shall move to the relationship between heritage and tourism. Heritage in both form, tangible and intangible, intersects with tourism to create meaningful cultural, economic and social experiences. Heritage and tourism are deeply connected. Heritage gives tourism its soul, while tourism gives heritage a new life. Every time people visit an ancient temple, a historical fort, a traditional village, or a cultural festival, they are engaging with heritage through the lens of tourism. Yet, this relationship is complex at some time. It's not just always harmonious. Tourism can preserve and celebrate heritage, but it can also threaten and commodify it. Understanding this balance is crucial for everyone working in heritage studies, cultural management, and tourism development. Now, moving to the learning objectives of this session. By the end of this lesson, we should be able to analyze how tourism contributes to heritage conservation and interpretations, evaluate the challenges and negative impacts of tourism on heritage sites and cultures, discuss sustainable and community-based approaches that balance heritage protection from tourism development, reflect on real case studies that show best practices and lessons learned in the heritage tourism management. When we use word heritage, we often think of buildings, monuments, or archaeological remains. But heritage is much more than that. Heritage refers to the legacy we inherit from the past, live with in the present, and passed on to future generations. It includes both tangible and intangible elements. The tangible and intangible scope of heritage we have already discussed in our previous video. Again, I shall recall you. Tangible heritage includes physical objects and places such as monuments, artifacts, historic towns, landscapes, museums, and architecture. And intangible heritage includes traditions, performing arts, oral expressions, rituals, cuisine, festivals, craftsmanship, and knowledge system. UNESCO recognizes both types as vital to the identity and continuity of the communities worldwide. Heritage embodies people's sense of belongingness, memory, and identity. It tells stories of who we are, where we are coming from, and how we evolve. Now, let's recall at tourism. Tourism is one of the world's largest industries. It involves movement of people away from their usual environment for leisure, business, or other purposes for a limited time. Among its various forms such as adventure tourism, ecotourism, or radical tourism, heritage tourism occupies a special place. Heritage tourism refers to traveling to experience the places, artifacts, and activities that authentically represent the stories and people of the past and present. It connects visitors with the cultural and rituals or natural heritage of a destination. Heritage tourism is not just about sightseeing. It's about experiencing meaning. It's about understanding the spirit of a place, what UNESCO calls the outstanding universal value of heritage. Now, moving to our main focus of this video is the relationship between heritage and tourism. Heritage and tourism are two interdependent phenomena that have evolved together over centuries. Heritage represents the collective memory, identity, and legacy of a people. It is what societies inherit from the past, value in the present, and wish to transit to the future generations. Tourism, on the other hand, is the movement of people for leisure, exploration, and learning. When these two domains intersect, we get heritage tourism, one of the most dynamic and meaningful forms of travel in the modern world. The interrelationship between heritage and tourism is complex and multifaceted. Heritage provides the foundation and attraction for tourism, while tourism gives heritage renewed relevance, visibility, and economic support. Yet the same relationship can also bring risks such as over-commercialization, loss of authenticity, and physical degradation of heritage sites. Understanding this relationship is crucial for planners, cultural managers, and communities aiming to balance preservation with development. Heritage as a resource for tourism. Heritage serves as one of the most powerful attractions for tourists. Monuments like Taj Mahal, Machu Picchu, or Pyramids of Giza draw millions of visitors each year because they embody human history and creativity. Likewise, intangible heritage such as festivals or music, etc., also attracts visitors seeking authenticity and cultural experiences. In essence, heritage provides tourism with content and character. Now, tourism as a tool for heritage preservation. While heritage attracts tourists, tourism in turn provides the financial means and public awareness needed to preserve heritage. Entry fees, guided tours, and donations often contribute to maintenance and restorations. Moreover, tourism can raise global awareness about the importance of protecting cultural and natural heritage. This mutual dependency means that heritage and tourism thrive together, but only if managed responsibly. The connection between heritage and tourism operates across several dimensions. These are economic, cultural, and social. Now we shall discuss these three one by one. Economic dimension. Heritage tourism is a significant contributor to local and national economies. It generates income, employment, and investment in infrastructure. The tourism industry often revitalizes historic towns and rural areas, supporting artisans, guides, and local entrepreneurs. For instance, heritage tourism in Rajasthan has not only preserved the palaces and forts but also created livelihoods in traditional crafts, music, and hospitality. However, economic benefit must be distributed fairly. If profits from heritage tourism are monopolized by outside investors or corporates, local communities may become marginalized, leading to resentment and neglect to heritage values. Now, moving to the cultural dimension of heritage tourism. Tourism helps revive traditional art forms, architecture, and festivals that might otherwise fade into obscurity. It promotes cross-cultural understanding and pride in local identity. Through heritage tourism, cultural diversity is celebrated. At the same time, tourism can lead to cultural commodification, where rituals or crafts are altered to suit tourist expectations rather than cultural authenticity. The challenge lies in balancing cultural preservation with the demand of global tourist market. The social dimension. Heritage tourism fosters community participation and social cohesion. It gives local people a sense of pride and belonging. Community-led heritage projects such as heritage walks, craft fair, or museum volunteering encourage social inclusion and empowerment. Conversely, mass tourism can also strain communities, inflate living costs, and disrupt traditional lifestyles. The goal is to create social benefits while minimizing negative effects on local populations. Now we shall move to the challenges in heritage tourism relationship. While heritage tourism brings many advantages, it also poses several challenges that must be managed carefully. Over-tourism and physical degradation. Excessive tourism can damage fragile heritage structures. The constant flow of visitors to ancient monuments like the Colosseum in Rome or the temples of Angkor has caused erosion, pollution, and infrastructural stress. In natural heritage areas, over-tourism can disturb ecosystems and wildlife also. Then, the loss of authenticity. Heritage tourism often risks turning living culture into a commercial product. Festivals, rituals, and crafts may be adopted or staged for tourist appeal, losing their cultural depth and authenticity. In Nagaland, for instance, the globally known Hornbill Festival, celebrated each December, was initiated to showcase Naga tribal culture. While it has succeeded in drawing national and international tourists, critics argue that the festival has become overly commercialized with standardized performances that do not represent the diversity of tribal customs authentically. Similarly, in Meghalaya, some traditional Khasi and Garu rituals have been simplified or performed out of their natural context to cater to tourist interests. Such commodification can dilute cultural meaning and alter community relationship with their traditions. Then unequal distribution of benefits. In many destinations, tourism revenue benefits only large operators, while local residents received a little. Without community involvement, heritage tourism can lead to cultural exploitation and economic inequality. In Northeast India again, several community-based initiatives have emerged, but many still lack institutional support or marketing access. For instance, while handloom and handicrafts tourism in Assam and Manipur has great potential, artisans often struggle to reach broader markets and receive fair compensations. Similarly, in some archaeological or colonial sites, local residents have minimal involvement in heritage interpretation or visitor management. But without community ownership, heritage tourism risks alienation with the very people whose identity it celebrates. Then environmental impact, which was one of the most important impact of heritage tourism. Increased tourism can lead to littering, pollution, and excessive use of resources such as water and energy. Natural heritage sites like the beaches, mountains, and forests often bear the brunt of tourism-related environmental stress. Unregulated tourism in ecologically rich areas like Majuli Island of Assam, the world's largest river island, and the Center for Vaishnavite Heritage has led to pollution, increased waste generation, and storm on natural resources. Moreover, soil erosion caused by the Brahmaputra River continues to threaten to both islands' culture and natural heritage. The challenge is therefore twofold: preserving the environment while maintaining heritage tourism as a viable livelihood option for local residents. Then, policy gaps and lack of coordination. The policy framework for heritage tourism remains fragmented. Responsibilities are often divided among multiple government departments: culture, archaeology, tourism, and environment, leading to overlaps or inconsistencies. Many heritage sites are yet to be properly documented or notified under state or national heritage acts. Moreover, there is limited collaboration between heritage conservation authorities and tourism planners. Then, the cultural conflicts. Tourists may inadvertently offend local customs or sacred places or spaces. Miscommunication or insensitivity can create cultural frictions between host and the visitors. Then again, inadequate infrastructure and accessibility. One of the foremost challenges in India is limited infrastructure. Many heritage sites are located in remote or ecologically fragile areas with poor road connectivity, limited accommodations, and inadequate transport facilities. For example, modern Kamdev in Assam, an archaeological site of medieval temple ruins, remains difficult to access due to poor infrastructure and lack of visitor amenities. Similarly, ancient remains in Dimapur's Kosari ruins in Nagaland suffer from neglect and limited tourist facilities. So, without proper infrastructure, heritage tourism cannot develop sustainably as visitors face logistically difficulties while local communities see limited economic benefits. In regions like Northeast India, which is rich in both tangible and intangible heritage, these challenges are particularly complex. The area's ethnic diversity, ecological sensitivity, and infrastructure limitation make heritage tourism a delicate enterprise. Balancing cultural preservation with tourism development remains one of the region's most pressing concerns. Then, lack of interpretation and educational values. Visitors often experience heritage sites without fully understanding their significance due to the absence of interpretative materials, trained guides, or visitor centers. Many smaller heritage sites in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and Tripura lack information panels or multilingual guides. This not only limits visitor satisfaction but also diminishes the educational role of tourism. Threat to the intangible cultural heritage. Intangible cultural heritage such as oral traditions, crafts, folk music, and rituals is particularly vulnerable to change under tourism pressure. As younger generations migrate to cities, traditional practices are fading. Tourism can sometimes accelerate this by encouraging selective preservation of only those traditions that sell, that have a market. Towards sustainable tourism. So, to preserve the delicate balance between heritage and tourism, a sustainable approach is essential. Without a sustainable approach, heritage tourism cannot be sustained. Sustainable heritage tourism aims to ensure that heritage resources are used responsibly, that tourism benefits are shared equally, and that future generations can continue to enjoy and learn from heritage. So, how do you balance preservation and tourism development? According to UNESCO and United Nations World Tourism Organization, sustainable heritage tourism means managing heritage in a way that protects its authenticity and integrity. First, ensure its tourism activities do not harm the site or community. Then, provide fair economic benefits to local people. Enhance visitor understanding and respect. This requires an integrated approach combining conservation, education, and community participation. Sustainable heritage tourism cannot exist without community participation. Local people should have the opportunity to take part in decision making about tourism development. They should get employment opportunity as guides, craft sellers, or homestay hosts. They should receive their fair economic benefit from tourism. Continue their cultural traditions rather than being forced to change for tourists. When communities feel ownership and benefit from tourism, they also help protect heritage resources. In CBT, that is the community-based tourism, local communities are not just passive recipients of tourism. They are active participants and decision makers. For example, local artisans manage craft market. Then the village hosts tourists in homestays. Community groups guide visitors and interpret their heritage. This model empowers people to protect their culture while earning livelihood also. It also gives tourists a richer, more authentic experience. In today's globalized world, heritage has become both a local anchor and a global commodity. Tourists can reconnect people to their roots but can also universalize cultures. For example, yoga or traditional cuisines have traveled globally, sometimes losing their local context. The challenge is to maintain the authentic identity of heritage while sharing it with the world. This requires ethical storytelling, respect for origin communities, and sensitivity in interpretations. Now, let's summarize what we have learned. Heritage and tourism are deeply interlinked. Heritage gives tourism its depth and authenticity, while tourism brings visibility and resources for heritage conservation. This relationship, however, requires delicate balance. Tourism must be managed in ways that protect authenticity, empower communities, and sustain cultural and natural resources. We have seen how both tangible and intangible heritage, from monuments to music, from architecture to oral traditions, enrich tourism experiences. We have also explored how over commercialization, mass tourism, and neglect can endanger heritage. The goal, therefore, is not to stop tourism, but to make it sustainable, guided by principles of respect, inclusion, and education. As we reflect on this lesson, consider this: every time you travel, you are not just a tourist, you are a custodian of someone's heritage. Our curiosity, respect, and awareness can help ensure that stories of the past continues to inspire the future. Thank you for being part of this learning journey. Thank you.